Uh, Good evening, everyone. It's a proud moment for me to be the presenter of the session by Dr. Manikandan, trainer in soft skills and psychology. I'm sure Mani will agree that I'm the most apt person to introduce him because we share a very strong bond right from our BSMED days. And it all primarily started because of our, the culture of a gender neutral alphabetical seating arrangement at BSMED. So it happened that I was actually sitting between Manikandan on one side and Menaka on the other. So from there, the bond started, and now has lasted all these years. And I'm very privileged to see his entrepreneurial journey take off to the next level. To give a gist about him, after completing his MBA in 2002 from BSMED, he went on to do a postgraduate diploma in personal management and labor legislations from Alagappa University, and he took a doctorate in counseling psychology from University of Collins, USA. He started his own journey as a freelance trainer by setting up his own brand of consultancy. And I am sure you'll be very interested to know that even the name of his enterprise has a very distinct BSMED connect. Because when we were in the second year, we started a virtual company by name Youth Corp. The basic idea was to undertake consultancy and other management services to the corporate. So Youth Corp actually didn't go a long way. After that, I think after we left, but Mani has taken that name and created a brand out of itself, and that really shows his connect with BSMED and his loyalty to our school. He has a long list of achievements and of 18 years, a lot of testimonies. But I'll just share with you some brief gist from his achievements. During this period, he has trained over 75,000 students. He has covered 72 colleges with his teaching sessions, and in 17 colleges, he is also a person who is into faculty development and professional development modules. After his doctorate, he has also undertaken 3,950 individual counseling cases and has seen individuals transform to the next level of their career. He has also undertaken training sessions across all South Indian states, and now even expanding his footprint. He has started doing courses in Northeast also, Northeast India, especially Assam also. On his personal side, he is an avid bodybuilder, and both during his UG and PG days, he was a university champion of our university, and he is also a proud recipient of our Distinguished Alumni Award of BSMED. And I'm sure that we are in for a very riveting, refreshing, and interactive session. Over to you, Mani.
Thanks a lot, Manu. Thanks for such a nice introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so happy to be here. I would like to thank two people here predominantly. Point number one, the person number one, Shankar sir, who has been roping me in this, and Manu, who has given such a nice introduction. You cannot have a best honor other than a person who has been sharing the class seat along with you, introduce you. So Manu, thank you so much for such a nice introduction, and you have been giving lots of merits. I don't know if I deserve all the merits or not, but I'm really humbled with the introduction. Okay, so friends, as the famous quote goes, nature doesn't create storm that never ends. So I think that quote is pretty optimum right now, because we are experiencing a pandemic, and in all our kind of lifespan, we might have experienced a lot of fear. The topic goes like the NLP technique for handling fear and uncertainty. So this is a very vast topic, and Kanagaraj has given me the time limit here. So I will do my best for sticking up with the time limit. And in case if you have got any deliberations, yes, of course, we will stick to the rules of the Zoom meeting. But if you've got any deliberations, instantaneously, please stop me to ask you a question. This NLP technique that I'm going to talk to you in today's meeting is actually a very serious one, and I cannot describe. My mind is going on beyond a certain point in an undescribable situation as to how I can give the importance of this particular therapy. Manu told all of you that I have been giving individual counseling for almost 4,000 people in the past 3 or 4 years, and most importantly, this NLP technique that I'm going to introduce to you has saved lots of people who had been into suicidal thoughts. It's not ethical on my part to give any individual cases as an example in a Zoom meeting, but on a generalized way, there were about 17 people who use this technique, and they were able to get out of that suicidal instincts on psychological basis. So what I thought was, this technique is predominantly used for getting the fear and uncertainty out. So we have only less time. Instead of giving the review of literature about all these NLP techniques and straight away jumping into the technique and the steps of doing it, my disclaimer is, if you are not able to do this for the next 20 or 25 days, you have got a very serious pattern mistake in your mind, because you have got a consistency problem. The rule of 21 really applies here. If you are able to do this technique for almost about 25 days or even a month, you will certainly see a lot of transformation in your mind. I'm not speaking as an MBA graduate here. I'm speaking as a therapist here. So if you have any school of thought as to how a therapist must be, I don't know if I would be matching up with that expectation or not. But the technique that I'm giving has got its own real levels of tangibility in psychology. Infantile reaction. You know what is infant? Infant is a child, and it refers a certain kind of age of a child, infant. So infantile reaction means your reaction as a child. You react as a child sometimes. When you have a fear, when you have a kind of jittery kind of feeling, when you are having an uncertain situation, it's quite natural. Beyond our educational qualification, beyond our intellectual faculty, we feel this fear and uncertainty sometimes. And our reaction at that moment is called as the infantile reaction. The technique that I'm going to introduce now is called as the three-finger technique. And Kanagraj will help me out to get my 2 YouTube video links which is relevant to this particular technique. After this Zoom meeting, I would like to seek the help of Kanagraj to spread the 2 videos YouTube link to all the participants in order to get more clarity in this concept. I'm getting back. Three-finger technique. Let's say, for example, if an individual is having a fear of what could happen next, and where am I going to go? I'm not talking about the current situation too much, because we are already flooded with lots of information, lots of forward messages about the current situation. And I'm not a big person to speak about the current situation, but I can definitely speak about some examples of how fear and uncertainty come and slash on our brain. Coming back to the example, a professional has got a big fear if the project is going to be a successful one or not, or if the meeting is going to happen on a successful one, and if he would be attracting the people's views in accordance with his views. So when a fear strikes into the mind, it actually does plenty of harm for the cortices of the brain, which you all know on a scientific basis. So this technique, the three-finger technique that we are going to speak about, is really having a very big role in keeping the cortices on a proper functioning basis, right? So now, I believe that I'm visible in the video. So 3 fingers, your middle finger, your ring finger, and your thumb. Okay. So spiritually speaking, this is one among the 1,335 mudras that we are exposed to. It is called as the Apan mudra. You can Google what is Apan mudra. Apan in Sanskrit means it's a deer. All right. So it looks like a deer when you are putting your hand in the same shape in a shadow. It looks like a deer. So it's called as Apan mudra. In three-finger technique, my dear friends, when you are connecting the 3 fingers, the literature says it creates its own wave in the brain. Okay. Now we have a person who has got a perennial fear, keeps on troubling him every now and then. I don't want to side with one example. I'm just giving a general example. A businessman who has a meeting to attend, or who has a project proposal to be submitted in another 15 days time, and there is a huge meeting coming up. So the meeting falls exactly on April 21st this year, and he's on April 7th. The fear keeps on lingering into his mind. That businessman can do this 3-finger technique, and he can really do a good job in the meeting that is coming in another 2 weeks' time. Let me tell you how. So if you've got any confusion in the example I'm citing here, please let me know. I might be going to even a simplified example, but you're all experienced people. Most of the people who are attending this meeting, some 15 odd people are attending this meeting, are much, much elder than me. So I have seen plenty of origins of fearful situations even than me. So you'd be easily able to relate what I'm speaking. Coming back to the businessman who has got the meeting on 21st, it's just not a meeting. It is also a very important project proposal that has to be accepted by the other people. Now, this keeps on lingering into his mind. So starting from April 7th, this guy has to start doing three-finger technique, the NLP technique, neuro-linguistic programming technique. Now, a quick word on neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro-linguistic programming means we have got lots of experts who have already studied, written articles about neuro-linguistic programming. BSMEDians have stepped into that too. So neuro-linguistic programming is about the brain neurons, how things are. Yeah, I'm getting a message. Can you explain the mudra again? Yes, ma'am, I can explain. This is the mudra. That is the middle finger, the ring finger, and the thumb. Okay, so this is called as Apan Mudra, A-P-A-N, Apan Mudra. So this Apan Mudra, spiritually speaking, this is basically a mudra that gives you a lot of self-confidence. When you go to the schools of thoughts about Apan Mudra.
Video is clear.
Sorry, sir. I
Sir,
don't get you properly, sir.
Your network is not fine, I think, sir. Shankar sir's network is not fine. I'm okay with the video.
Okay.
And do another have any problem with the video?
Can I continue in the same way,
Yes,
Kanagaraja,
yes,
or
you can go, sir.
Right.
Video is
So,
fine.
yes, sir. Shall I go, sir?
Yes, sir, you can start.
Right. No issues with the audio and video. Thank you, Tamil Selvan sir, for letting me know, and thank you, Kanagaraj. Yeah. Now, I was explaining the mudra one more time. That is this Apan Mudra, my dear friends. When you get into the school of thought, it naturally explains that it is a mudra that is required for gathering more self-confidence. Now, what we do here is mixing up the mudra and the three-finger technique. You know, the three-finger technique written by Jose Silva in his book Ultra Mind Control Method. He configures this, the index finger, the middle finger, and the thumb. He says something like this. But as you know, in Indian culture, we are much superior than those people. So this man, when he says, he also says, go with the finger choice of your own choice, he says. So then what I thought was, okay, we are good in mudra in India, so why don't we go with this particular configuration? But if you seriously have a trouble with this Apan Mudra, go for the default way of having these three-finger configuration. Okay, right? Now, hope I have given the explanation about the mudra. Someone asked about mudra's explanation, so now I am coming back. Now, again, we are coming back to our businessman who is having a meeting on 21st, and the whole situation has been explained, having him in his mind, in our minds. Now, the point is, when the person has got a fear, this guy has to condition his mind along with this three-finger technique. We call this as a reconditioning of the brain cycle. April 7th, exactly at 10 o'clock, when the guy goes for his dinner and he finishes his dinner, and when he retires from the day, he has to keep the three fingers like this in both the hands. I repeat, my dear friends, both the hands. Okay? The businessman has to keep these three fingers in both the hands like this, and he has to lie down flat. Okay? And he needs to condition himself. He needs to do everything best for getting relaxed. Now, getting relaxed is a very big challenge for most of us. Some people have got the habit of listening to music for getting relaxed. Some people have got the other adverse habit of for getting relaxed. But what I would like to advise here is, keep your eye pupil upwards, 20-degree upwards, somewhere like this. I might be looking like a nocturnal animal if I do that, but please try to understand what I'm saying. Keep your eye pupil 20-degree upwards and keep your eyes closed. And you got to count from 100 to 1 backwards. When you count from 100 to 1 backwards, your entire system gets completely relaxed. I bet this is a guaranteed method. Even tonight, you will be having this wonderful experience. Okay, so, but if you are counting from 100 to 1 backwards and you fall asleep, that's a different problem altogether. But if you want to relax yourself, if you have to calm down, keep the pupils upwards and count from 100 to 1 backwards. For reasons unknown, my dear friends, your body and your entire system gets very quickly relaxed when you are doing this particular process. by 55, 54, by the count of 55, 54, you should be definitely in the relaxed mode. So we have come to the relaxed mode. And question, frequently asked question at this point, do we have to have the fingers intact like this? Answer, yes, you have to, and you must keep the fingers intact like this. Now, after getting relaxed, what am I supposed to do, Manikandan? I'm coming to that. Once you have relaxed, coming back to the businessman's example, he has to condition. Yeah, I'm. How about external distraction? Well, what kind of external distraction is going to be there for you when you have decided to go to bed and you are retiring from the day? You got to have the external distraction, of course, but the point is when you are counting from 100 to 1 backwards, please cut down when the thought jumps to some other section. Let's say, for example, if you are counting from, okay, 69, 68, you get something reminded and you get some old thought which is not at all necessary. Say these words, be here now. Just say these words, be here now, and be into that condition. Okay. So once you get to that condition, what happens is that your mind, after 5 or 6 days, it will get used to it. You will get accommodated to it. Practice makes you much comfortable with it. So now coming back. So once you have got to the relaxation, what you do is that businessman has to say, at any given point of time, the businessman is saying these words, listen to me carefully. This could change your entire life. At any given point of time, whenever I'm getting the fear about the 21st meeting, all I have to do is keep my fingers like this. At any given point of time, when I'm having the fear or when I'm experiencing the fear, all I have to do is keep the fingers like this. Because when I keep these fingers like this, the thought pattern is being completely interrupted and I get more confident thoughts and I get replacement thinking working for me, in favor of me, and I will get more boosted confidence for doing the meeting well. And I am dealing with the uncertainty and fear goes out of me. So make a simplified statement of what I have said now. It can be in the mother tongue, it can be in a simple English, it can be in any language, but your subconscious has to understand what you are saying. Usually fear comes at the end, very close to the deadline and not while preparation. Right. That's an interesting paradigm. I would like to address that in a minute. So when you are saying the statement for 5 or 10 times, you got to say that 5 or 10 times repeatedly. And after you repeatedly say this statement and condition your brain, go to sleep. Relax, get the fingers released, go to sleep. This guy conditions this for the next 10 days, my dear friends. And the next 10 days, if he is consistent enough to do this on a regular basis with 100% commitment, on the 11th day or on the 12th day, when this guy is doing some other work and when the fear comes, all he has to do is keep the finger like this and the brain will take care of the rest. I repeat, on the 12th day, okay, not to be confused with the 6th day, 5th day, 4th day. No, nothing is going to work in the 6th day, 4th day. It's too early. But on the 15th day or on the 12th day, for that matter, after 10 days of regular strenuous practice, when the fear comes and flashes into his mind, the man has to do like this, and immediately the brain pattern changes because your fingers have got connection with your brain neurons. Okay, so your dopamine starts secreting very faster, and your endorphins work in favor of you. And what happens is you will have instantaneous confidence. In 5 minutes, the person will be having a little surprising kind of an entity that 5 minutes back I was having the fear, but I don't know what has happened now. Now I'm a little relaxed. He will feel that. So now, answering the question which has come right now, if 12 days can do that much wonder, imagine how strong he will be on April 20th. Imagine how strong he will be on April 21st. On April 21st at 10 a.m., the meeting is scheduled. 9:30, he has to do that in the conference hall because it's going to take just 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Just close the eyes, keep the 3 fingers, and at any given point of time, I'm going to address in the meeting in the next 30 minutes. And when I am getting the fear slashing on my mind, all I have to do is this. So during the presentation, whenever he gets a little bit of a jittery feeling, he can keep his finger like this. One finger, one hand's fingers are good enough, not 2 hands fingers. All right. So at that moment, you can do this. See, the real process happens in the first 10 days. But from the 11th day till the moment, some magic happens in your brain. And I have been doing this for several occasions. I got this as an exercise when I won my first title. Manu introduced that I won the title of Mr. Bharatiya University. Way back in 1999, I won my first title thanks to NGM College of Pollachi, which has given this book to me. In that library only I found this book and I started reading this and I was able to do this. But after getting into psychology, after finishing my MBA and BSMED, I got into the psychology of, getting more data, and I researched and I got very clear to it. So to make the long story short, step number 1, choose a time in the night exclusively when you are retiring from the day. Step number 2, choose on which fear you are going to do this. And you can have a question. Manikandan and I have got plenty of fears. Take the head of the department of the fear. Take the major fear that's really haunting you. Let's go one by one. Let's go easy. Let's go one by one. We can have enemies one by one. And right now, if you ask a very tangible, realistic example, if you have the fear of future during this pandemic times, why don't you use this technique for that? Keep your finger like this and close your eyes. And every time when my mind thinks that, oh my God, what is going to happen after the lockdown? Will the lockdown be released at all? When I have the thinking, all I have to do is I have to keep these fingers like this. And when I keep these fingers, my mind thinks that, yes, this too shall pass. And I will definitely be able to come back to the shape. And the entire globe is going to come back to the track. And things are going to be easy. You do this way. You make the syntax on this way for this particular situation. You'll definitely be able to come across this and teach your children. Shankar sir asked me, Manikandan, can I bring the family members also? Yes, I hope the family members are listening. Teach this to the children and make sure you are very consistent for the next 10 hours. Can we scare away Corona? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Shankar Narayan sir, that's what I'm saying here. You can definitely do this for the current situation also. The reason why I did not take the current situation is you have been flooded with so many information about that. That's why. So, I'm getting a screen here. All right. So, basically, this is now coming back to the summary. You choose the sphere. And when you choose the sphere, what you do is you keep your fingers and for the next 10 days, condition your mind to come out of the sphere. And please be careful. Yeah, eye position from Uma ma'am. Ma'am, the eye position is, let's say, for example, my friend John is here. John, how are you? How do you do? Now, let's say, for example, I keep my finger on my friend John's forehead and I ask John to look into the finger without raising his head. Now, do yourself. Keep the finger on your forehead. And if I ask you to focus on the finger without lifting your head, how will your eye people position? That's a position. That's a 20-degree position. Your brain is getting slowed down when you're doing it. Your brain is getting relaxed down when you're doing it. And all the enzymes and cortices are getting into a relaxed position when you do that. And when you're counting from 100 to 1 backwards, naturally your eye pupils will tend to come down. And you're not supposed to allow the eye pupils to come down. That's the catch here. And if you do that, you get easily relaxed and you get into a dynamic position. The brain level skips and the brain level switches over to alpha. So in alpha, everything is possible. And I don't want to get into alpha because that will be deviating. So since you have asked, I have answered the question about the eye positioning, Uma ma'am. Now, coming back. So if you are able to do this at least twice or thrice in a day, result can be faster, my dear friends. Result can really be faster. When I go to the college, when I train the people for getting them out of the fear about attending the interview, fear about attending and standing on the stage and doing a public speaking, I give this therapy. And most of the people who are using this therapy are really able to come out of the fear. This I have witnessed. Okay, right? And I remember doing this once in BSMED also, talking about this once in BSMED also when Rupa ma'am gave me a chance to speak to our students there. I remember talking about this, but I did not get into the detail. Maybe Kanagaraj sir can help me to get this video process to the students so that they can also be benefited. So this is called a 3-finger technique. It is an NLP method. And I really believe so strongly. Thank you, Kanagaraj sir. I believe so strongly that this will definitely help you out. Let's go one by one and let us all do this technique as a war-footed weapon in the battlefield towards getting out of the fear about what is happening right now. I repeat, when you are keeping the fingers, please tell the syntax that whenever I get the fear about this coronavirus, whenever I get the fear about what could happen in the future, all I have to do is I have to keep these three fingers like this. And during that time, when I keep these three fingers, my brain interrupts that negative thinking pattern and it replaces with some prospective thought. And it gives me immediate transition in the thought and I start feeling good. So you can simplify the statement as much as you want and make sure you are repeating the statement properly. The meaning shall be the same. Don't keep on changing the meaning. Is this up and dear mudra? Yes, it is a dear mudra. At times, fear is not a great concern, but stress and then getting into anger. How this technique will be? Yeah. Well, this entire technique is a multifold one. You have to understand. Satish has asked that question. This entire technique is a multifold one. What happens is when you are doing this technique, see, my friend, fear is not a single emotion. It is a combination of various emotions, right? I don't believe in the acronyms like fictitious events appearing real. I don't believe in all those acronyms. But fear is an emotion. It is real, right? So when fear comes, it comes up with the additional packages of the stress, and it comes up with the additional packages of the adrenaline misfrequencies and all that. So when you are doing a technique which is targeted towards the main thing called as fear, the other subdivisions will automatically take care of. That's what is my belief. I remember when I was doing this technique for the first time, when I was supposed to speak in front of 5,000 people, way back in 2003, I was very much excited at the same. I was very much excited at the same time. I hope the audio is clear right now. Okay. Srinivasan sir has asked about the statement that we use with the mudra. I repeat, when you are keeping this mudra, when you are keeping the three fingers combination, and when you are in a relaxed position, I switched off the fan. I think you would be able to hear me properly right now. Is the audio clear? Audio? Is the audio clear? Yeah, no, but okay, fine. So let me not take much time. What I was saying, yes. Okay, I'll stop the video. Thanks for the suggestion. Okay, right. So now, when you are keeping the fingers like this, what you do is you just talk to yourself, stating that whenever my mind thinks about the uncertainty of this coronavirus, whenever my mind is thinking about what could happen in the future, what I'm supposed to do is keep the fingers like this. If you had been conditioning your mind for the past 10 or 12 days on a consistent basis, the 13th day, this wonder will happen. Uh, at 10 a.m. in the morning after your breakfast, you feel a sluggish kind of a thought pattern, and that says that, oh my God, when is this thing going to get out, and when am I going to get out of this kind of a fear? When you have that thinking, and if you had been having the experience of doing this conditioning for the past 12 days, just remain calm and keep the fingers like this. Your brain will take care because it is a programmed machine right now. Yes, it has been programmed for the past 12 days. You have been giving the syntax. You have been conditioning it. And now the brain will take care. In the next 2 minutes, you will start feeling better. At least you will be feeling, at least you will be starting to think something about something, some other prospective thing other than thinking about this adverse climate that is prevailing over. So this is what is the magic of the three-finger technique, a pure, strengthful NLP technique that I wanted to suggest. The moment Shankar sir asked about what topic are you going to speak, Manikandan, I had no second thought to speak about this. And I will be giving the videos, 2 videos which I had recorded in my official YouTube channel. Kanagaraj sir will be forwarding that to you. So do you need any other reiteration about the steps for the three-finger technique? I'm waiting. If you could give me any clarifications, because I have been taking a lot of time. If you give me any if you ask me any clarifications, I'm ready to shoot. So we target the major concern. Now the rest of the issues will be taken care as we are very dynamic every day. Well, yes, my answer is yes. The major concern is you have to do some postmortem of your thoughts. In fear handling mechanism, and whenever I counsel the people for handling their fear, I ask the root of the fear. I really ask the root of the fear. In the beginning of our meeting, I told about infantile reaction. The emergence of fear might be some catcalls given by somebody. It might be some negative kind of a triggering mechanism that has been made by somebody. So we got to get to the root of it. And once we get into the root of it, we would be able to get the fear properly. So see, my dear friends, forgive me if I'm wrong. This entire pandemic situation is been hyped. 35-45% has been hyped, and it has been given like an Olympic torch being passed over. The fear has been passed by so many people. And if you make an analysis and if you dig into the statistics, you will come to understand that this fever comes and yes, of course, it irritates people. It challenges them on the life basis. And then after 7 or 8 days, it leaves the body system. But if the person has got some medical records of dialysis or kidney problems or diabetes, then it really tolls the person with a challenge. So if you think on this basis, you will come to understand that this is just like a malaria or a chikungunya or a dengue or any other common flu that hits us during the winter season and other adverse climates. But the fear that has been happening, the fear that has been happening has been so much hyped basis. Let us all get out of this hype. So even you can do the mudra. For some people, it is a fear. For some people, it is a disturbance. For some people, it is an annoyance. For some people, it is an irritation. So based upon the kind of feeling that you have, try to do this mudra. And I got a question, what kind of finger? No pressure whatsoever. Just keep the connections. Please understand that you are not supposed to commit any mistake in positioning these fingers. This is the positioning. Okay, so everyone now can unmute the audio and video to ask questions. So this is the pressure. So you need not put any pressure into the fingers. I'm feeling a strain because I have switched off the fan for our disturbance. So if I'm sweating, please excuse me for this bigger than outlook. The chat question that I saw, it disappeared. Could you please? Now I have no problem in having the video. The host can switch on the video. And I had a question, and that question has to be repeated, please. Yes, I'm waiting for your questions.
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. See, I've been dabbling in Ayurveda, Siddha medicine a little bit. And in Siddha, they say when there is a predominance of Vata in the body, that leads to fear. So don't you think just the positioning, your answer that just the positioning of the fingers, of course, mudra is also part of the yoga, Ayurveda scheme. So it could help us to deal with fear. But don't you think this is a very simplistic solution? And a lot of the fears that we have are very complicated. I mean, like, I feel that based on even the elementary knowledge that I have, I feel that what you are suggesting is very simplistic. I'm not saying it's not valid, but I am saying there are much more complicated causes for a fear and complicated ways to deal with that as well.
But that's a real bright question that makes me think. I really appreciate you.
Sorry?
About medicine and,
yeah, you could just check with somebody later, I guess. But this was my observation. I think, although mudras could be one aspect of dealing with fear, but I think there are multiple ways in which we should deal with this. Yeah, and it's an ongoing process. I don't think there is a simple solution.
now, can I start speaking?
Yes, yes.
Is the voice clear to all? I think, Mani sir, your bandwidth has come down, so if video and audio are simultaneously coming, the audio is very poor. So better we can have the video, cut the video, yeah.
Is it clear now, sir?
Yes, sir, now it's very clear. Yeah, now it's clear.
Yes, thank you, sir. And answering ma'am, who has asked a question. Ma'am, this is nothing related with mudra. See, there is a resemblance with mudra, of course. This is called as Apan Mudra. In the beginning of the session, what I said is this is called as Apan Mudra. But I did not speak anything about the mudra related thing, but I said the NLP technique, 3-finger technique, has got some resemblance with this mudra technique. So I thought of using it. Point number 1. And point number 2, yes, it is appearing very simplistic. I have made it simplistic basis. And the reason why I am appearing so strong in explaining about this is I have tried this to many students and I have tried myself, and it has really fetched result. Any person who is really consistent in doing this and the conditioning, doing the conditioning for the next 15 days on a consistent basis, they have experienced a positive result. So with all the due respect and humbleness, I would like to stick my neck out and say that if you are practicing this for the next 15 or 20 days, even adverse fears can be taken care of. Thank you so much for that question. Hope that answers
may
your
I
question.
ask you another follow-up question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, if we use different fingers, this would not work. Like, suppose we did something different, use different fingers, would it not work?
Ma'am, you can always go for your own fingers combination.
Okay.
I was little assertive about this Apan Mudra because this Apan Mudra has been coming on a very favorable handy basis for many occasions in my life. But if this is not going to work, you can go for the default 3-finger technique, ma'am. That is index finger, middle finger, and thumb.
Okay.
You can even do that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Pleasure. Nirmal Kumar, my friend Nirmal. Hi, Nirmal. It's been a long time, dude. So Nirmal says fear and insecurity affects the immune system, and positive and prospective thoughts raise the immune system. Yes, I agree with that. That has got lots of meaning into it. You got to understand, Nirmal, the very reason of conditioning yourself every single day and doing this exercise every night, it really boosts your health. It really boosts the kind of magnanimity of all the body organs, and you are naturally becoming healthy. So it gives you lots of other indirect benefits as well. So why not try that? Yes, Uma, ma'am, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Does hypnotism come under NLP?
Hypnotism does not come under NLP, ma'am, but there is plenty of resemblance. Ma'am, you need to understand that you are doing a self-hypnosis here in this process. You are lying down, and when you keep your pupils upward, and when you keep the 3 fingers connection, and when you are counting from 100 to 1, that process is nothing but self-hypnosis. You are hypnotizing yourself.
I understand.
And you do. Yeah.
Yeah, there are so many ways of controlling the mind, and as such, you say with mudras, it's very efficient. I understand. So many times we know to control ourselves, our thoughts is all fine. And so as you do that, the optimistic feeling grows up and the self-confidence also comes up. That is very true.
Yes.
But often when I go into this pranayams and meditations and all, it's all ways of introspection, right? Yourself. You control yourself and all that. But at times, when I come across people who try to, not exact situation, I think about that often. How does all the self-control and your mind control takes over when it comes to the power of the other person? When he tries to influence you with his thoughts, his or her.
Okay, so I got the question. Can I answer, ma'am?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I would like to bring the metaphor of radio mechanism here. So one radio scientist has written in his article that when the wire is being strengthened and it is being stretched, electricity passes on a very prudent basis into the wire. So that is applicable to the brain neurons also. When the brain neurons are slowed down and when they are strengthened enough, the impulses are passing through the brain on a very fast basis. So this mechanism happens when we are doing this conditioning technique. Now, what happens is that when a person is exposed to do this kind of a technique for the next fortnight or at least for the next 2 months or so, what happens is the person creates an aura within himself and the person stabilizes himself into or emerges into a different person. And when you emerge as a different person, the other negative aura and the influential factors from the other people will do you no harm, will definitely not be able to do you any harm. Because when I started practicing some initial principles of hypnotism, when I was a BBM student way back in 1997, what I thought was some people started listening to me all of a sudden. The people who were not in the same page of my thinking, they started listening to me all of a sudden. And I was asking my dad why this happened. And dad said that maybe this is because of the hypnotic exercise you are doing. So here, when you are exposed to this NLP technique for the next 20 or 30 days, you become more powerful. And yes, of course, you can be escaping from the influential people and the other people can also really find some magical difference in you. That will happen as the time progresses. That's the way I see.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
I have been experiencing this also. That's why I'm saying this. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I saw some question on the screen and when I was explaining that disappeared. Can I have the question again, please? Yeah, this mudra works wonders. Each of us can try all known mudras, settle with what's best for them. Thank you, Kanagaraj. Thank you so much. Most of the time, fear of insecurity is always the same thing in the part of a personality, intrinsic. It is about, it is not about external. Yes, yeah, I would like to throw light on what Srinivasan sir mentioned out here. The brain is millions and millions of years old. As per what the Nostradamus science says, the brain is millions and millions of years old. Your body is 40 years old, maybe. Your body is 50 years old, but the brain is the borrowed resource. You might be experiencing some deja vu effect and thinking that you have experienced this somewhere before. So it is a scientific revelation that the deja vu effect comes because the brain is a borrowed resource and it has been exposed to the same situation somewhere even before it came to your body existence. So who knows the brain carries what? So when our teachers, our parents, our peer circumstance-oriented people who are growing along with us, they come up with lots of insights and they play a vital part in contributing towards with what our brain is growing. But what is in the brain by default is something beyond your control. But with exercises like this, with NLP techniques like this, like 3-finger technique, you can really make a detox of all the wrong things that has been programmed into your brain. And as he has mentioned the word, very sharp word, intrinsic, that's a very powerful word. And you can detox and you can really take the intrinsic things into proper control. Well, thank you so much, Satish sir. And I have other therapies also, like fish pattern, like scramble pattern, like 3-picture technique. All that follows the 3-finger technique. And 3-finger technique is the mother of all. And I think I have given the justice towards explaining properly so that everyone can understand.
Manikandan, I have a question on the position again. With regard to the position, when I come to the mudra, stand, lying down on the floor or on the bed, what will be the where will be my hands? Actually, at what angle my hand should be? Should it be 90 degree or it could be bent? Number one. Question number 2 is when I start counting reverse, say from 100 to when I come down to 0, say in between when I sleep, I'm sure the mudra, I might lose on the mudra, like it might become loose, or I may not be having that tight grip. So how do I handle that particular situation?
Well, sir, as far as the positioning of the hands is concerned, Shankar sir, are you getting my words clear? Well, sir, as far as the positioning of hand is concerned, there is no specific kind of restriction as to you have to keep hand in a certain way. You need to lie down flat, and your spinal cord has to be straight. That is the only advice. And you can keep the hand resting very, very much near to your thighs. Point number one. And point number two, sir, it is going to be a very healthy sleep if you are sleeping in the transit process, and you will have a wonderful sleep, and you will start experiencing deep down good dreams that are hidden in your subconscious mind. Yes, my disclaimer is, first 2 or 3 days you will be dozing off very fast, and as time progresses in the 4th or 5th day, in the first 20 minutes when you are doing this conditioning exercise, you will be feeling so wide awake, and you're
whether they can, if they're comfortable, some other mudra, can I use that? So what we were actually taught
I have attended the course for 5 days, NLP, a practitioner program. I have completed my advanced also. Yes, Manikandan was contemplating that. ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் முத்ரா வந்து நம்ம வந்து ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் ஆக்ஷனுக்கு வந்து நம்ம இது பண்ணோம்னா டைப் பண்ணோம்னா கண்டிஷன் ஆயிரும் மைண்ட் அப்படின்ட்டு. ஐ மே ஹேவ் டிஃபரெண்ட் வியூ. இது எந்த ஒரு வியூ முத்ரா கூட வச்சுக்கலாம். இட் டசன்ட் மீன் தட் ஆக்சுவலி இதுதான் வைக்கணும் அப்படின்னு அவசியம் கிடையாது. Because what we been taught in that particular was we can initiate. For example, colors கூட நினைச்சுக்கலாம். இந்த கலர் வந்து கான்ஃபிடன்ஸ் நினைச்சுக்கிட்டு அந்த கலரை வந்து திங்க் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சோம்னா we will be getting the condition to that. So anything we form as a habit, no 21 days இந்த மாதிரி வந்து பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தோம்னா definitely it will form as a our own thought.
Correct.
So when we think about
21 days என்றது வந்து லாக்டவுன் பீரியட்னால சொல்றீங்களா இல்ல நார்மலா 21 days?
இல்ல ஒரு லாங்கர் பீரியட். ஒரு ஹாபிட் ஃபார்ம் பண்றதுக்கு ஒரு ஹாபிட்க்கு வந்து ஒரு தியரி இருக்கு சார். ஹாபிட் ஃபார்மேஷனுக்கு வந்து 21 டேஸ்னு ஒரு தியரி இருக்கு.
ஓ ஓகே.
கோயின்சைட் ஆகுது இருக்கு.
கொரோனாவுக்கு 21 டேஸ் இருக்குங்களா? அதே மாதிரினாலயா?
வீட்டு விட்டு வெளியே வரக்கூடாது இல்ல சார், அதுக்காக
கொஞ்சம் லைட்டர் சென்ஸ். சாரி, வரட்டா ஒரு மணி வர வரைக்கும். சொல்லுங்க கில்பர்ட்.
இல்ல, we are all conditioned to stay home for 21 days அப்படிங்கற.
Yes.
இவர முதல்ல கொண்டு வந்திருக்கணும், 21 நாளைக்கு போட்டுக்கலாம்.
Yeah, definitely. See, NLP is all about, sir, actually what we நம்ம think பண்றது தான் சார். For example, if you imagine a circle, which can ஒரு circle, imaginary circle form பண்ணிட்டு, you can put confidence, you can put happiness, whatever you want to be there. அத போட்டுட்டு நீங்க வந்து அந்த சர்க்கிள்ல நிக்கிற மாதிரி ஒரு ஃபீல் பண்ணீங்கன்னா, தென் இது வந்து நீங்க பிராக்டிஸ் பண்ணிட்டே இருந்தீங்கன்னா one point of timeல வந்து when you are entering into a cabin of your MD இல்லனா ஒரு சூப்பர் பாஸ் கிட்ட போகும்போது அந்த பயம் இருக்குது அப்படின்னா, அந்த பர்టిక్యులர் டைத்துல வந்து when you are entering into the cabin of his your boss, நீங்க அந்த முன்னாடி சர்க்கிள் இருக்குன்னு நினைச்சிட்டீங்க போதும். when you step into the circle அப்படி நினைச்சிட்டாலே வந்து அந்த கான்ஃபிடன்ஸ் வந்துரும் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி தான் வந்து தாட் ப்ராசஸ் போயிட்டு இருந்தது சார் NLPல. So it's almost a conditioning, ஒரு நம்ம தாட் ப்ராசஸையும் ஒரு 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 இமேஜினரி திங்கையும் வந்து கம்பைன் பண்றது தான் வந்து NLP.
வேற
அது பண்ணலாமா யாரோ கேட்டிருந்தாங்க இல்லையா? somebody had asked a question. So I just wanted to share what we learned. We happened to attend an NLP session in Chennai. By the way, the session by Manikandan is fabulous. It's like a refresher session for us, those who already attended NLP. And what we were taught is, just to recall a positive event, or any successful event you had in the past. Then you make a small formation of your fingers, and keep remembering that, try to relate that incident with the formation of these 3 fingers, And then, whenever you feel little down, at that time you can bring back your fingers in the position that you did earlier, and you will be able to recreate the positive or successful atmosphere whenever you want. Manikandan also explained. முத்ரா வேற ஏதாவது முத்ரா பண்ணலாமா? இந்த பர்டிகுலரா இந்த 3 fingers பண்ணுமா, இல்ல வேற ஏதாவது பொசிஷன் பண்ணலாமான்னு somebody had asked a question. And my answer was, what we learned in the NLP session is, நீங்க வந்து you relate your incident, some successful positive incident, ஒரு 3 fingersையும் நீங்க வந்து ரிலேட் பண்ணிடுங்க, so that whenever you want to have a very positive and cheerful, want to create success again, just by bringing the fingers, the brain will be reprogrammed, to create the necessary positive vibes.
Yes, sir. Now we have a question from Mr. Satish.
Ladies and gentlemen, you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Welcome back, Mani. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So in your absence, Raghu and Karthik were also giving some views on NLP, because both of them attended some sessions on NLP. That's it. Okay. Please go ahead.
Right.
Yeah, Mr. Satish has a question. I'm forwarding the question in chat.
Yeah. Satish, so we are trying to calm down through scenarios. We are trying to calm down through scenarios, say during high-level business negotiation, or enthusiasm or eagerness to address our side spoils the show, and it takes to fix the usual issue. Well, I would like to get clear information about how you actually calm down, Satish sir, when you are speaking about calming down through scenarios, say during high-level business negotiation. What is your nature of calming down? So many people have got calming down situations, and they have got their own mechanisms for calming down. But I would like to say you that a clear NLP practitioner will be able to calm down in any given point of situation by doing some strategies. Let me show some light on some couple of strategies. One is a common deep breathing that we all know how you can calm down, and another one is this theater in mind technique. So Shankar sir told that some of the NLP attendees have been giving their insight. So those NLP attendees can really relate. Maybe Karthik Anna can really relate what I'm speaking about. It's called as the theater in mind technique. When you are in a high prolific situation where the pressure is mounting to the head, all you have to do is private time, get a private space, and you close your eyes and you visualize that particular situation in your mind. You got to have the exactness of the situation's physical appearance, and you need to be in that as third person. So this is a very big science, and it is called as theater in mind in NLP method, where you are having the possibility of seeing yourself being calmed down, seeing yourself being at a larger than life position in front of all the people beforehand. So yeah, theater in mind, exactly, theater in mind. So when I'm sending the video links to Kanagaraj sir, I will also send some of the PowerPoint slide explanations I have got about theater in mind. Maybe that if you go through that, you will definitely get a useful information, and you can even try that. Hope I have answered Satish sir's question.
Next question is from Nirmal Kumar sir. He's online. Sir, you can talk.
Mani, Nirmal, good evening. Good evening.
Nirmal, good evening, Nirmal.
My question is, maybe, I don't know how much you can help in this. See, current scenario, everybody is saying, don't be panic, but you should be careful. I never understand this word. Don't be panic, but how much to be careful, how much to be, these are all confusing. One, how it is not panic, the retail sector people are discussing it will take another 1 year time to revamp and come back. So all the work we have done for last so many years, again we are going back 5 years back. So all these things, how it will change with whatever technique I can program my mind, but outside situation, how are you going to address? It all depends on outside situations also, na? That's the question.
Right, Nirmal. Well, Nirmal, the word careful contains the package of NLP technique also. Don't be panic, but be careful means when they say careful, what they mean is, on a lighter way, I'm saying careful is a packaged word that contains take care of your precautions, stay hygienic. At the same time, keep your mind fresh by doing NLP technique. So you have to stay safe and you need to do all these measures like NLP technique to keep yourself strong. That's what I think those people are mentioning by using the term careful. And that's point number one. And point number two, addressing your second question. See, Nirmal, the people who are giving these predictions that retail sector will take at least a quantum leap for getting out of this lame position and global economy meltdown will take at least 3 years. I'm asking you a cross question. Who are these people and how are they making these kinds of predictions and what kind of groundwork they are doing for it? I don't believe it.
These people are from the retail, it's originated from them only. I can send you a link in WhatsApp. This is from BS Nagesh, or there was a team yesterday. They were discussing in the Zoom meeting. So they predict 9 to 12 months.
Right. And during the Satyam scandal in 2009, exactly 11 years back, they said it is going to take at least 6 years or 7 years for India to recover from this spine-hitting position of software industry. And yes, during that time also, retail sector had a heavy slash and slap on the face. But in another 1.5 years or in 2 years, India was able to recover. So in that position, with the kind of lockdown that we are experiencing, with the kind of meltdown of all the industrial sectors, we would be able to regather in another 2 or 3 years, definitely. Because that's what I have mentioned in a couple of days back. I mentioned in my WhatsApp status that Abdul Kalam was predicting that in 2020 India is going to become a superpower, which is exactly happening right now. We are facing this pandemic on a very much smarter way. But I can stick my neck out to say that we are much smarter than any other countries in facing this pandemic. And this is what Abdul Kalam mentioned, that we are becoming a super nation. Once all this gets over, and once all this rehabilitation of this industrial sector happens, we'll definitely become a super nation, as he predicted. But it is not going to take this much time that the predictors, all those godfathers who are predicting the time of 3 years and 4 years, no, that's not going to take that much lengthy. We will be recovering faster. This kind of a belief system is what I'm trying to infringe. And being in the retail sector for almost more than a decade, if you are having that belief system, you can transfer the belief system to your subordinates also. And this kind of chain reaction thinking can really recover. Yes, I sound a little bit universal, but and also vague, but I basically feel that this is going to be the only reality that is left as a choice in our hand. So you do this technique, and I think I remember coming to Shoppers Stop when you were a floor manager over there, and I gave a motivation session for your teammates. Likewise, we can also arrange a Zoom meeting for your teammates, and we can get their mind erect, and we'll do some attitude adjustment. That's what I can say.
Well, I'm Shankar. Well, in a lighter note, because I'm not too much aware of NLP, but I would say there is a difference between fear and being cautious. So, எச்சரிக்கையா பயமா அப்படின்றதுக்கு இடையில there is a very big difference. When it is fear, it is your heart which works, and when you're cautious, your brain works. So it's a simple understanding of my way of looking at things. So,
well, I can't agree more, sir. I really appreciate. I totally understand what you're saying. The glimmer between the fear and cautiousness. Coming back to the example, 45 minutes back, I triggered out an example of a businessman trying to avoid the fear of attending a meeting. There he is cautious. In the first 15 days, he is very cautious so that he's not going to have any problem in the meeting. So being cautious and being aware of what could happen in the future, for that NLP will definitely help.
Wonderful. And any further questions there? to any of them?
Yeah, thanks,
So
Dr.
Dr.
Satish.
RV sir is online. Dr. Venkatapati sir, you there?
Sir, இன்னைக்கு ஜாயின் ஆகலைங்க. வேற ஏதோ ஒரு
இல்ல வந்துட்டு போனார் நினைக்கிறேன். வந்துட்டு வந்தாரு. டாக்டர் ரூபா மேடம் சார்?
ரூபா மேடம் இப்ப லைன்ல இல்லைங்க சார். நடுவுல இருந்து டிஸ்கனெக்ட்.
Okay. So is there any further questions you have, or can we close the session? Okay, wonderful. So it was a great opportunity to have our close friend Manikandan from our BSMED fraternity.
ஃபில்டர்ல போயிட்டு அந்த சின்ன டிராப் டவுன் வரும். கிரியேட் நியூ ஃபில்டர் கிளிக் பண்ணிட்டு உங்க பேர் யூஸ் பண்ணி ஒரு ஃபில்டர் கிரியேட் பண்ணிருங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் ஃபில்டர் யூஸ் பண்ணுங்க. பெஸ்ட் பிராக்டீஸ் டவுன்லோட் பண்ணிருங்க உங்க லேப்டாப்புக்கு.
யார் இது?
ஓகே. யாரோ அன்மியூட் பண்ணிட்டாங்க தெரியாம. மியூட் பண்ணிட்டாங்க.
பண்ணிட்டீங்களா? Okay. So good. It's really a good opportunity to hear you, Mani. You have gone places and you have learned. Kanaga? யார் இது?
Yes, sir. You are good to go now. I'm able to hear.
Okay, so you have done wonderful things and you have taken a different league in life. And
thank you, sir.
It's more of learning. Life is all about learning, and it's a continuous learning. I really appreciate you on behalf of the BSMED alumni. We extend our thanks to you, and on behalf of the BSMED also, because the school is also involved in this. It's a great opportunity for us, to learn together. That is the whole philosophy which you have brought in. And we are going to have, and also thanks to Manu. Manu has done a wonderful introduction to you. So both of you are buddies. I know that. That's the reason we choose Manu to introduce you.
Right.
So
thanking you for
this time of lockdown, we are all thinking about Corona and a lot of panic. It's good to hear your fellow, friends who are around us, to think about them, to talk to them, and just forget about things. That will give us a lot of energy. So that was the main purpose to conduct these meetings. And we have been doing for the past now 10 days. Last Monday we started. Now it's more than 10th day. And tomorrow we are going to have Raghuram speaking. And then we have a very interesting speaker, the Siddha Dr. Shivaraman. He's very famous. He's going to give a talk on Thursday. So that's going to be a very interesting one. So and thank you again, Mani, for your valuable time. We appreciate it.
Pleasure. Sir. Thank you for hoping me in.
Thanks, Kanagaraj.
Thank you, Kanagaraj. Thank you. So, Kanagaraj, will I be able to get the video link of it from you?
Yes, sir. You can send, and we will forward in the global WhatsApp. And if someone wants also, they can give their number in the chat. I can take it and I will forward.
Right, Kanagaraj. Right. Thank you everyone for listening to me.
Thank you, sir.